All right. Good afternoon, everybody. This is your girl, Diamond Crystal, also known as the Gallivanting Grandma. And today, my guest is my girlfriend and fellow international traveler, Gail Roberts. Hey, Gail. Glad you could
Hi,
join me.
Diamond. Nice to see you.
It's so good to see you. All right. I'm going to do a little backstory
Okay.
because the folks don't know how we met. And it was just
Okay.
kind of serendipitous, right?
It was
Um,
actually.
Yeah, so it was what the month of March, and we were in Panama.
Taking a break from Portugal. I was
There
anyway.
you go. There you go. You were living in Portugal at the time, and we're gonna talk about that today. But just so folks know how we met, in Panama City, the last day before I was leaving, really, we got together at a sister gathering there in a beautiful hotel and had a great time that night and just kept in touch the whole time. And while you were there, you were like, listen, Diamond, if you ever come to Portugal, look me up. And you know
I
I did.
know. And she did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Gail, I wanted to talk to you for a long time because your story is very unique. Very
Hmm.
unique. Tell me where you are now.
I'm in Tampa, Florida.
All right. You in Tampa, Florida. How's the weather down there?
We've got a couple of cool fronts yesterday and today, but it's supposed to go back up into the 80s tomorrow. So,
Okay.
you
All
know,
right. Well, cool. Sounds good. Listen, I don't know if you saw my video, but I just left South America and I don't think I've been as cold since I visited you in the central part of Portugal because I was cold then.
girl, I think we both was surprised that weather. I know I was. It was a big factor in me deciding whether I wanted to be there or not. That was
Exactly.
awesome. So,
Exactly. All right. So now we on Portugal. Let's get into it. Tell us, why did you choose Portugal, and when did that decision really start? Coming into play for you.
well, I retired in 2021.
Goals.
So I knew I wanted to go to Europe. I've been there a few times before, London, Paris, and other places. I still wanted to do some traveling in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Portugal, what it offered for me at the time, I started doing my research and everything, probably 2018, in the process of probably determining whether I wanted to live there full time or not.
Okay. Okay.
It was at that time probably one of the most relatively inexpensive parts of Europe to be at. So that was my plan, was that was going to be the hub. That was going to be where my dog lived, where my
Yeah.
bag
Yeah.
was whenever I
Yeah.
was around. So yeah, I
Okay.
think finances and a lot of other things like it was pretty um easy for me to even apply for my SEF, I mean, for my residency and everything like that. So,
Right, right. And Portugal is still a hot spot, right? There is a huge community of Black expats, particularly in the Lisbon area. I know there are some in Porto, but you were in a different part of the country. You were up in the majestic mountains. I'm going to say it again, it was cold as hell.
it was cold. I ain't gonna lie. It was cold. It was really
But
cold.
listen, I'm still rocking that white hoodie that you gifted me when you were packing up everything. So let's
Girl, girl, I know
do.
you have on sometimes you have to have more than that though, because some of these places you just don't realize that when they get cold.
Yeah, it gets really cold. And if you're not used to it, I'm a sundress, flip-flops kind of chick. So, I'm ill prepared when I go someplace and I find something that's like less than 50 degrees. That's just not agreeing with these bones at this point. You
No,
know what I'm saying?
no, the bones. Yes.
That part. That
Mm-hmm.
part. All
Yeah.
right. So listen, tell me, how did your reality being in Portugal, once you started the whole visa process, how did your reality differ from your initial perception of living there?
Well, I think it was, I spent a lot of time, the first times that I had been to Portugal was mostly in Lisbon. And then I
Mm-hmm.
started looking for, affordable housing.
Right.
And I've heard about Coimbra, and
Mhm.
Losa is like 35, 40 minutes from Coimbra.
Right.
So I was a little surprised in the weather, to be honest, the
Yeah.
weather. And then when I was in Lisbon, there was more of a Black expat, a Black community there. And it wasn't really a lot there, which meant I would have to travel an hour and a half. And there were, and I mean, I didn't have a problem with being with Portuguese people in my village and everything like that, except that community of not having anyone that looked like me or act like me, or who knew how to play spades or bid whist, or
all the sister girl activities, right? I mean,
it was missing.
I know that you love music, so who would you go dance with?
Yes, and that too. So it was that whole process of having to travel out, get an Airbnb, spend a night in Lisbon, and things like that. And that was one of the things. Yeah.
And listen, I probably get it even more because thank you again. I was able to spend 2 weeks in your beautiful apartment there. So, while the area, the environment is very beautiful, is very majestic, like I said, it does lack all of those sister girl comforts that we find in some other countries. Like, I mean, we partied good in Panama, right?
Oh, girl. We were watched. We were, I stayed a little longer than you.
Listen, we digress. We ain't gonna tell the stories. We're gonna keep Panama in Panama, but we did have a good time.
We did.
Absolutely. So you said you started the visa process. Did you have professional help or did you do it yourself?
My daughter and I did it myself. But remember, I knew I was going to leave and retire in 21.
Right.
I knew I was going to travel and I wanted to be somewhere in Europe. So we started like in 2018, literally with documents I was going to need, literally looking at places, looking at real estate.
Right.
I had a couple of people looking at real estate for me in Portugal. And actually that's how I got that apartment.
Gotcha. And, so you had boots on the ground to help you out.
Well, yeah, I did. And my bank accounts too. I had someone over there working to help me with all of that stuff. So the process was pretty smooth, actually.
Good. So would you recommend, having done it before, would you recommend trying it yourself and then looking for professional assistance, or going the professional route straight out the box?
Well, I'm always looking to save money. I'm a DIY person. Do it your DIY.
Yes.
Yeah, that's me. So, and I got a millennial daughter, so I'm like, let's do this.
Let's do this. Yeah.
It's not as hard as people think. There's so many samples in there, you could just, it's not as hard. I did talk to an attorney at one point. I never gave her a retainer or anything. I just got some advice from her. I did develop, like I said, an relationship with someone who worked at the bank.
Right.
And my realtor person. So
Okay.
I personally think that if you take care of your own banking and everything, then there's questions that you want to ask. I wasn't buying property, so it's a little different.
Right. It's a little bit different, right? So I'm going to ask you the question that's probably burning in people's minds. First of all, how long did you stay, and how well do you speak Portuguese?
Well, now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say my Portuguese was probably a 4 or 5. But when you don't use it, you lose it. So Absolutely. Right now, I am planning on some other trips for 24. My mind is not on Portuguese right now.
Right. Okay.
So it was the same thing, in France. I studied French before I left for probably 3 or 4 months. And, I knew more conversational stuff when I was in Portugal. I knew how to call a Uber, or a taxi, order food, polite conversations, things like that.
And you know what? I always say to people, if you have the greetings down, if you know how to be polite, if you know how to say obrigada when you're supposed to, it goes a long way, right?
It does.
Because, like you said, you know how to eat. You know what you want to eat and what you don't want to eat, so you can order. You can order a Bolt, which is kind of the Uber equivalent over there. And you say the greetings, and it takes you a long way with the Portuguese people, because they see that at least you are trying. You're not coming over there and making them speak your language. You are at least attempting the language.
I think that's anywhere we go. I think it should be
Exactly.
like that anywhere you go. It's just like you come to my house, one of those
Right.
things. And I think that the people are really friendly and everything. They're always willing to help.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That
yeah.
was definitely my experience when I was in Portugal.
Hmm.
People were very, very friendly. So we're going to shift a little bit and talk about the fact that you were an expat who took your pet. Let's
Mm.
talk a little bit. Listen,
Okay,
I
you
know the story,
just trying to
so I'm gonna
start
be
something.
quiet. I'll
You
be
just
quiet,
trying to
but I want
start.
you to know the
Okay.
story because,
Oh
as you
Lord.
know,
Oh
I have
Lord.
a Facebook group for sisters who house sit, and the majority of us are house sitters. But
Okay.
you are a pet parent, so talk to us about traveling overseas with your dog.
Okay. So of course, you have to depend on where you live at. Everything varies. I live in Florida. Gosh, so many things that I went through, I can't remember now. But go to your vet. Vets usually have all that paperwork, get you started, get you going. That
Yeah,
part
yeah.
going is not as difficult as people think it is.
Mhm.
It cost me $292. I have a big dog. My
Yes, you
doggy is
do.
he's a Doberman and he's full
He's a
grown
mini
now.
horse.
Shut up. He's a Doberman, and I trust him. He's rough. He's just like me. He's raw, and I had no problem with putting him in hold. It cost me $292 on Tap. Tap is
Okay.
pretty good with animals too.
Yeah.
I get into Portugal. They got my pet. I hear him over there crying. Where's my mommy? They bring him in. We went right to the vet. Everything was fine. I had my
Yeah.
driver and people who were picking me up to pick me up. Everything went fine. We are probably a lot more. I brought a muzzle, and when I got there, it was like, "What do you want this for? Why are you using
Mhm.
this?" I know that they recently, last year or year before last, just passed a law where you cannot dock dogs' ears. So I was a little like, "Ugh, are they going to say something about my dog?"
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what we do in America. That's his breed. And no, I never actually had anybody say anything negative to me. Beautiful dog. He's so sweet. That's it.
He is very sweet. He's a gentle giant, is what I say about Miles. But I happened
I know you
to
want to get to
be
the.
with you when it was time for you to leave Portugal, and it was
Yeah.
not as seamless as getting into the country, was it?
Okay, so Miles matured while he was in Portugal. Let's just
That's
say
a good
that.
way to say it. He matured.
He matured. I get to the airport. Diamond was with me. Thank God. That was a God thing. Because I didn't even bring back half of my stuff. I brought back what I needed and my dog. Same crate he came in, he just go right into his crate, get to the airport, and then I forgot what the weight was. He was over. Not tremendously, but he was
Not a
over.
lot. Not a lot.
Not a lot. I remember, but they refused to let my dog. I think they was trying to keep my dog. But
Listen,
anyway,
everybody in that airport was in love with Miles. I mean, you were
honey,
running around doing
as much
all
as
the
I didn't
crazy
want to go back,
things.
as much as I didn't want to go back to that village, they wasn't keeping my baby. I wasn't going home
I
without him.
don't like you.
So long story short, oh Lord, Miles couldn't go back in the hold. He had to go cargo.
Mhm.
Sliding, okay. So anyway, it was back and forth from one terminal to the other. I had to coordinate my flight. I had to change my flight. We slept in the airport that night. I wasn't worried about anybody coming near me. People were
And not with
really
that
nice
dog.
too. They were really nice to us
Yeah.
and asking me, do I need water for him? Do you want me to, you need some food? They were really nice. I just couldn't wait to go back home now. Long story short, it went from $292 to $3,300.
Girl, you know,
Yeah,
I was having a heart attack. I think more than you were having a heart attack. I was like, what?
yeah,
$300.
yeah.
That's USD, y'all. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we got home. So he wound up going cargo and I was on my flight. And yeah, I did worry about him then because he wasn't in the same flight with me.
Yeah, yeah.
But when I went there to take him to cargo, he had llamas on the side of him. He had all kind of animals that people were shipping from
Isn't that
Peru
something?
to. Yeah, it was interesting. But we got home. We made it
Yeah.
home. Got to Miami. My daughter picked me up. We had to go to where he was in cargo. It was a little stressful. I did need a
It
little
was.
shot of something when I got home, but we was
Yeah,
good. We made
yeah,
it.
absolutely. That's the
And
main thing.
yeah, he will forever be a U.S. citizen dog now. We ain't traveling because I ain't doing that again.
I can't
And I'm
say I've
not
done it on that.
discouraging anyone. I'm not discouraging. Miles is a big dog too. You
Yes.
know, if you have a dog that's smaller, a pit bull size or something, you probably won't go through what I've gone through. I have a friend, Christy is in Coimbra.
Uh-huh.
She brought her two gosh, huge dogs. I forgot what they are, but they're huge.
Yeah.
Pyrenees something. They're huge. So I
Uh-huh.
think she flew hers over. She also had all her furniture, I believe, shipped cargo, whatever. But I don't think she went the same route that I went. Her dogs are
Gotcha.
huge, so
Yeah.
I think she used charter. I think that's what they call it, charter. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, you mentioned a little bit about the money and shipping furniture and all of that, but you actually were in an apartment that was furnished, correct? It came
Yeah.
furnished.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a beautiful place. Two
It was
bedrooms.
cute. It met all my needs for when I was there, when I wasn't
Right.
traveling or doing something else.
Right.
The only thing is I was a little discouraged. So when the reason why I picked that area too, Lisbon was starting to become very crowded and the pricing changed.
Yes. Yes.
When I
Yeah.
first started looking, probably 5 years prior to moving there, whatever, it wasn't that expensive, but it became an
And
item.
that's right. And that's something that, anyone who's looking to make a move from the United States using United States money, you really have to pay attention to the valuation of the dollar. Because I have friends who are in Panama and also in Mexico. And right now, the dollar is devalued. So it's not going as far as it did when they originally went to these countries. And I think that's what happened with Portugal as well.
Exactly. And I think the dollar went up. I just remember one time when I was there. I
Yeah.
think everybody was rushing to wash some money and change money around and stuff like that. But yeah, the apartment that I had was nice. I forgot how many square foot it was. It was a nice size. Well,
Yeah, it
you've
was.
been there. But
Absolutely.
and I paid $450 a month and it was
Mhm.
fine. But when I had to pay for that heat, uh it got expensive. It got
Right.
really expensive. So I mean, I'm just spoiled. I'm always, so it got a little, so I see why it was $450, but I felt safe where I was.
Yes,
And
yes.
the people were really nice to me. I had a butcher around the corner from me.
I mean,
Um,
everything was right there within walking
yeah,
distance. It was
yeah,
extremely walkable. You know me, I take the
yeah.
bus.
Oh,
I
yeah.
hopped the bus a couple of times. We did the bus into Coimbra. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're saying it
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And it was delightful. It really was. But these are the things, if you're on a fixed income, if you're retired, if you're retiring, these are the factors that you need to think about as you're moving forward in, expatting into any country, right?
Any place. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
things do change, and sometimes what look like gold is not gold either.
Right, right. So,
So
it's all about doing your due diligence.
right. Yep.
Exactly. So let me get back to kind of the sister type activities that you felt you were missing. Let's talk about the racial climate there. You said that you felt very welcomed in the town, the province where you live. Did you find any racial disparages, throughout Portugal while you were there? Any
I
issues
mean,
as
I
a
know
black
it,
woman?
I think that exists everywhere in the world because
Mhm.
that's an individual thing. People are going to be racist or be mean because that's their feelings. So that could be anywhere.
Right.
Panama, even Ecuador, it could be anywhere. It's the
Hmm.
individual thing. I never had an episode. I never, not to say it doesn't and won't exist.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
never had a problem.
Right, right.
People were
Okay.
really nice.
So as far as that's concerned, you would say as a black woman, you felt comfortable in the streets of Portugal.
Girl, heck yeah, I did.
I
Probably
did
more
too.
so than in the streets of Florida. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
say that part
Don't
again.
start
Okay.
on my
My
don't start
daughter
on
and
don't start on my state, okay? Just don't.
I'm not because my
No, I
daughter and
think that
granddaughter are in a red state as well. They're in South Carolina, so I get it.
ooh, child.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
anyway, no, I never felt I would my vet, everything was they are a community, people life can be hard there, so they don't got time for to focus on, I guess,
Yeah.
other stuff as
Yeah.
much.
Mm-hmm.
My neighbor actually cleaned up for me. She would,
Mm-hmm.
occasionally I would give her, I felt almost like I was cheating her because the money was so little. I really did. But
Yeah.
she would clean up for me. I would go away weekend. I come back. Sometimes she had food waiting for me. People are just really nice. I got my nails done. My little nails were done, and a mani pedi was like $17.
Right. Oh man, isn't that just the best of the things that we consider to be
I know.
pampering ourselves, or it really is everyday life because
I
it's
know.
so affordable in other
I know.
countries. You don't feel like you're dipping into, your budget. That
Hmm.
discretionary income goes a long way outside these United States.
Yes. And you know what? One of the things I wanted to get done, but I didn't find out about it until actually it was almost, we were leaving. One of my friends in town there said that microblading was under
Uh-huh.
$100.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh
I
wow.
would love to have gotten that done. So another time, but
Well, I had gotten my eyebrows done in Ecuador the beginning of the year, and they still holding up pretty good,
it
and
looked
it cost me
nice. I did.
$70.
How much?
70, seven
Oh, girl.
zero.
Yeah, yeah,
And they fed me lunch and sangria.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. They treat you like a queen. I know.
Hey, the queens that we are, absolutely. So
Yes, I.
go someplace that appreciates you, right?
That's right. You know what? I stand by that
Mm-hmm.
in my
Absolutely,
life too.
absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, if you had to give any one nugget of advice to another Black woman, regardless of age, that was thinking about moving to Portugal as a life change, what would that one thing be?
My age, Black woman.
Any age. But yeah, let's talk about
Well,
our age.
I'm going to talk about my age. I think that you probably want to be closer to a big city. I
Mm,
think, I don't know, because everyone is different. I am more sociable and like doing things. I'll even go
yes.
out by myself. So I think that was one of the things that kind of like, I don't know if I want to be here. I want to be around people doing stuff, like-minded people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I
Can I
think,
tell you this one story?
yes,
I
go
went
ahead.
to, so I teach water aerobics. I did it for 8 years here. So
Yes.
I found a gym, like a YMCA. That's not what they called it.
Mm-hmm.
Near my home. I caught an Uber, not an Uber, little taxi thingy. Went over there. Everything was fine. Music was a little different, but everything was
Yes.
fine. Until I went in the locker room. I
Mm.
was not prepared for this. Um, I was sitting in the corner, covering myself like with
Uh-huh.
a towel
Yeah.
because people were so free with their bodies and stuff. I was not. I told my daughter, I think you forgot to tell me something. She says, "Oh yeah, mom, I meant to tell you. Italy, especially, they do that on the beach. They were just walking around from
Mm-hmm.
ages 11 to 85 with it all hanging out, and I'm in the corner with my swimsuit on, trying to
Yeah.
get dressed. I put
Trying
my
to be
towel.
all shy and demure about it.
Girl, no, I said to myself, they just want to see if I really got a tail. No
Oh,
one was, you've heard that before, right?
yeah,
No one was
yeah.
paying me, no one was paying me any attention at all. Not at
Right,
all. It was
right.
just such the norm, but I wasn't prepared for that, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. And the beauty, I think, of getting outside the United States and experiencing that is that there really is no body shaming. I mean,
No,
whatever body you presenting is the body that's received.
yes,
So we get hung up on all this, got to be looking this way, and you can't wear two-piece or whatever. Listen, anything goes in
anything,
most countries. The United
anything.
States is the problem.
And we still be beautiful. It's the United States.
It's the
It really
United States.
is.
Yep.
It really
Yep. So
is.
that's just a small example.
I think I had gotten my hair braided. My hair wasn't chopped off then. It was a little
Uh-huh.
longer. But I got my
Uh-huh.
hair braided, and I literally, in one of the cafes, one of the women, older women, she wanted to touch my hair. And I
Mm.
think they were a little confused with the gray hair and
Okay.
is she or is she not older or what?
Yeah,
It was a
yeah, yeah,
little different than what they were annoying. But people are just so pleasant.
yeah.
Everybody wants to help you and everything. And
Hmm. Hmm.
I never felt
So,
scared.
so Did they touch your hair? Because that's one of my things. Like, don't touch my hair. Don't
She
touch my
she
hair.
asked in her own way. I said, "Go ahead. Yeah, it's the braids." I
Mhm.
know, I know, I know.
Yeah.
It is a
Oh,
thing, though.
it's interesting because when I was in Barcelona, I was sitting at a bar and minding my business, and this man just kept looking at me. Just kept looking at me. And all of a sudden, so we make eye contact, and he said, how beautiful I was, whatever. And he was asking the question at the same time that his hand was extending, like, can he touch my skin? And I was like, yo, player, where they do that at?
That's
No, like, back up. But they are intrigued because a
yeah.
lot of times,
You do feel a little violated sometimes,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. So I'm real particular about that. Like, don't come in within my, personal space. That part, unless
I
I
get it.
invite you.
I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. So
All right. So you're back. You're back in Tampa. You're doing your thing. You
I'm
back
doing
mother's
my
life.
thing.
Is this home now, or are you still looking for your forever expat home?
My forever expat home is going to be in the United States. I'm going to stay here and be a
Uh-huh.
grandmother one day, but I'm still traveling. And I think that when I think and look back, I think I could have been satisfied with just doing the 3 months and
Yeah,
coming
we
back.
talked about that when I was there.
Yeah, because I
Mhm.
actually started missing my stuff. Like when
Yeah.
I say my stuff, my lifestyle. Like
Yeah.
I can't explain it. It's the community. I'm sure.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. I
but
mean,
it's wonderful.
it does take a different kind of mindset. I say to people, everybody can't do what I do. I'm
Mm-hmm.
completely untethered. I don't have storage anywhere. I don't have a home base in the United States. I don't miss it. So like you said, and we talked about in Portugal, why not take advantage of whatever tourist visa the country gives you? Mexico will give you 6 months. If you want to explore Mexico, do it. Then leave and come back at some point. Go to Portugal and do 3 months. Go to Spain
Mm-hmm.
and that time. It's a wonderful way for you to get acclimated without having to have a commitment anywhere
Right.
that you're visiting.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And there's a big world out there. There's so much more that I want to see and do.
Oh
I'm
my God.
planning on Africa next year,
Oh,
and then a shorter trip to Guatemala to Lake
where you going? I'm
Atherley
gonna
with
be
my
there
daughter.
in January. Meet me there.
Where?
Guatemala.
Where? You know where yet?
Antigua. I
We'll
think
talk.
Antigua.
We'll talk.
We'll
Oh yeah,
talk.
that's right next to. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
That's
So,
interesting. See, we didn't even know we were going to be in the same place at the same time. But I
girl, I don't
always
never
say
know
to
where
myself,
you be.
I'll be everywhere, girl. I'm the
I'm
gallivanting
like,
grandma.
she's here. She's here today, and tomorrow she's in somewhere else. I'm like, what the? So yeah, I get it though. Live your life, man. Enjoy
What?
because, if I had the ability and probably earlier in life, I was raising my children, divorced, and blah blah
Right,
blah, and
right, right.
waiting to retire. This was my
Mm-hmm,
retirement gift,
mm-hmm.
and I have great children that support me 100%. Sarah and Justin, and
Yeah.
but if I had did it, if you could do it younger, do it. Because
Right.
one of the things that did happen to me too, I developed I have spinal stenosis in my lower back.
Uh-huh,
So
uh-huh.
and I got a diagnosis when I got home, but it started bothering me when it got really cold in Portugal. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
that'll
what
do
is
it.
this? Yeah. So I'm better now, but I'm
Good.
taking care of myself, trying to lose some weight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see you on your Facebook page dancing the night
Okay.
away, girl. Oh, you're just too much. You are too
So,
much.
but if you can do it when you're younger, do it. Just go ahead and do
Yeah.
it. My daughter has been traveling by herself. When I think about it, she was 19, took
Wow.
semester off from school and told me she was going to Italy. I was livid.
Yeah.
And basically, she very respectfully said, Mom, I'm over 18.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
going to
That's
go.
my life.
Best thing that ever happened to her. She caught the bug, and every time I looked, she was on a flight somewhere, and it has grown her so much.
Yeah.
To you're not just taking care of yourself where you can run to family. You're somewhere where you don't really have that support
No,
system
you do not.
somewhere else.
You
Yeah.
do not. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you learn them
Well,
skills. You know
kudos
them.
to her for getting it in early before she
Yeah.
makes you a grandma. But
Yeah.
let's just talk about that a little bit because I am big on social media, and one of the reasons why is because I like to provide myself with as soft of a landing as I possibly can when I'm going to a new country. So, before I went to Ecuador the first time, I was in that group. Same with Mexico and Panama. And you just want to give yourself some sense of community before you land somewhere all by yourself. And I think traveling, first of all, as a Black woman, as a woman that is more mature in age, these are the things that we need to consider. So it's wonderful meeting up with other like-minded Black women of this age group so that we can to encourage and inspire one another to get on the damn plane and go. That part, go.
I mean, you and I and probably Sarah, we would travel a lot off the what they call it, the path.
Yes.
we do some stuff that probably is not in the resort. But if you don't feel comfortable doing all that, just stay at a resort. You don't have to just stay at a resort. Get your feet wet like that.
That's right. That's right. I have a girlfriend, my best friend in New York. She is a resort traveler, but she goes everywhere. That's not the kind of travel that I enjoy. I like to get immersed in the community and chop it up with the locals and eat where they eat and save my money. And maybe go to the resort for a day or two.
Right.
But your point is perfectly taken. I don't care how you like to travel. The point is travel.
That's right. Get out there because, tomorrow, I always say I have more days behind me than I have in front of me. And I want to make good of all of this abundant life.
Exactly.
I want to do all the things that I want to do and stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited that we finally got the opportunity to do this. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking about it for a few months. Here we are. So thank you so much for making time to do this video with me today. It was good catching up with you, sis.
I know.
And sounds like Guatemala is going to be January 2024 for both of us.
What, do you have your dates yet? Or we'll talk off.
Land in the country right around the 12th of January.
Okay.
And then from there, I'm going to Ecuador, and you have not been to Ecuador yet. So we're going to talk offline because this sounds like it might be.
You're going to hold me to Ecuador, aren't you?
I'm going to hold you to Ecuador because the community there is fabulous.
I know.
There. And we have a good time there, girl. I would love to introduce you to the sisterhood there.
Okay, we'll do it.
All right.
We'll definitely do it. Yes.
All right, fantastic. Listen, thank you again so much for making time. I appreciate it. And listen, whatever you do and wherever you're going, peace and blessings.
Same to you.
All right, love you, girl. Bye-bye.
Bye.